This is Triple Threat, and we are all new. You can now listen to us on Anchor, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. And before we begin, we want to know what's on your mind. Just drop a question in the comment section below, and we will get to it in our next episode. And we've got a lot of sports to get through today. We've got the Hard Knocks, we've got NBA and NFL. We've got another segment of Breakout or Bust for you guys, our most interesting team in the NFL, and we'll close out the show with a little bit of the MLB playoffs. I want to start off with Hard Knocks, Will, because I am really enjoying it this year, and I think HBO is putting on a great show for NFL fans all over the country, and especially with the Browns. It's a team that's so interesting. 0-16 last season. They're the joke of the NFL. Then they bring in a guy like Baker Mayfield, and we're beginning to learn about his personality. And I'm beginning to like him more and more after each episode. And not to mention, Des Bryant will probably be on next week's episode because he visited the Browns on Thursday. So Cleveland is just racking up views for Hard Knocks and HBO, and I think it's great. I don't know if you're enjoying it as much as I am.
I mean, it's the reason it's the most successful show that they've had. They've been going on since 2001, and this Browns team is the most interesting team they've done it on, and it's paid off. They've had the worst team in the NFL. They have a lot of hype for the next season because Jarvis Landry said that they're a Super Bowl contender this year.
I don't know about that.
No, obviously not. If you can't go from 0-16 to 15-1.
Yeah.
That's a big step up. And they still have a pretty similar roster. But this episode, it was obviously the most intriguing one they've had so far. They have three big plots that we'll talk about. One, Corey Coleman.
Oh, yeah.
Why did they trade him away? Hard Knocks tells why. The offensive coordinator was bullying him for his attitude, for his effort, and he was getting dropped to the second stringers in training camp. So he goes up to Hugh Jackson, "Hey, coach," and then completely emotional, like a reality TV show. Why am I not playing with the first stringers? Like, if you don't want me here, then I'm not going. I want to trade away. I want to leave this organization if you don't want me here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why he got traded. We talked about it. Wait, why is he getting traded? For so cheap too? This is his first round asset from 2 years ago.
We had no clue.
So we finally get a reason for that. We get the infighting between the teams. This could be a bad sign for this season, or the Browns, or it could just be normal football. Tensions are high because they have so much pressure on them from a high demand sport. So you have like Cleveland, they have a high successful. The Indians are successful. The Cavs were extremely successful with LeBron. They reached 4 straight finals. They were good with him before. They were all consistent playoff team. We went to the Heat. And now that he's gone, and the Browns are 0-16 last season, it's not good for them. And all their hopes are riding on the Indians and the Browns this season because the Cavs have no chance, in my opinion, of even making the playoffs in the East. So if they can actually prove to the city that they can be a good team in the NFL, they'll have an extremely happy and strong fan base. But they will get restless. This does cause animosity within the training camp, and that has started a couple fights. Jarvis Landry and the quarterback group, Myles Garrett and the offensive line group, a lot of fighting going on. Could just be football. It could be a bad sign. And the most interesting thing, my number 3, it's Odell Beckham. This isn't really a highlighted point of the episode, but the fact that he's featured so prominently throughout the episode really is hinting towards something. And if it's playing out like a reality TV show, which it is so far this season, with all this drama going on with this Cleveland Browns, Odell, he's been featuring more prominently than a lot of players on the Browns themselves. That's the team they're supposed to be focusing on. It was him with the head coach Hugh Jackson, him with the players Jarvis Landry, him with the staff. He's getting to know his new employers. In my opinion, think about it. The Giants don't want to pay his $20 million asking price. The Browns can pay that. They have $60 million in cap. They had a previous interest in him. He has a connection with Jarvis Landry. He's now talking with the coaches on live TV. This is really something to look out for here, and this could be something that we see fold out for the October deadline.
We also found out why Antonio Callaway got a chance, and he's a talent, a first-round talent. Instead, he went a couple rounds later, we found out why he got a chance due to the Corey Coleman trade. Hard Knocks is just bringing us in to the Cleveland Browns franchise. We feel like we're a part of the franchise. I think it's great so far.
It's like the fans get a window into this NFL franchise, and that's
Yeah.
all that a fan can desire. And every fan wishes their team had a Hard Knocks. Maybe not for the right reasons, because it does require them being one of the worst teams in the league. But still, they get to see it. They get to see into their team. And if you don't live in the city, you can't see their training camp. You can't see what's going on there. This gives you a look inside of that. It gives you a first row seat for this entertainment. You get to see all of it unfold, and this is it. It gives fans the power to know. It's power of knowledge, and knowledge is everything, in my opinion.
All right, now let's bring the NBA into the conversation. Obviously, the NBA and the NFL are both in the off season right now, and players are working so hard because some of them know that their careers are on the line. And for me, Emmanuel Moutier's career is on the line this season in New York. He was obviously the 7th pick in 2015 and has not lived up to his expectations. 12.8 points per game in his rookie season, career high. 5.5 assists in his rookie season, also a career high. Then he was traded to New York in the past season, 8.8 points per game, and that is not good for a starting point guard, especially in the big city of New York. He's starting ahead of guys this season. He'll be the starting point guard going into the season, starting ahead of Trey Burke and Frank Ntilikina. And if he does not perform well, he will get traded. And here is why. The Knicks have cap space available, and they can pay a big free agent in the upcoming free agency in 2019. Guys like Kyrie Irving are available, and I think that's who the Knicks have on their free agent board listed as number 1. And Kyrie Irving is obviously a point guard, so if Moutier doesn't show them that he can be a franchise player going forward, Kyrie Irving's going to take that role. And if Moutier shows them that he is a very important player to the franchise, he can distribute the ball well. He can also score. He can shoot the ball, which he struggles with. They'll go after a guy maybe like Jimmy Butler or maybe even Kawhi Leonard, who can play the small forward shooting guard position. So Moutier really has to show people what he's worth in New York this season.
And another player who I think was in that 2015 draft that has his career on the line this season is Jahlil Okafor, because he doesn't have a starting spot nailed down this season. They have Nikolai Mirotic, who can easily take over that power forward role, and that moves Anthony Davis down to center, and he's out of a job, and he's on the bench, and he's doing what he's been doing for the last couple of years. He hasn't had this opportunity to start consistently since 2016-17 season. Jahlil Okafor was good in that year, but he was only getting 20 minutes. When he's utilized like he's supposed to be, he has had 2 seasons averaging 30 minutes or more. And you want to see the stats? 17 points per game in both of those seasons. He had 7 or more rebounds per game in those seasons, over a block a game in those seasons, and 50% shooting, which is okay for a center. You'd probably expect a little bit more. And his main concern is shooting. And you know what he's actually tried to actively fix is his shot.
That's good.
Look at his college numbers. He won ACC Player of the Year with 50% free throws. He was like a Shaquille O'Neal. He was laughable outside of 15 or more feet. But at Brooklyn, he was trying so hard to fix that. He shot 76% from free throws, and that's a big improvement. That's 26%. And that doesn't just happen overnight. You're not one day a bad shooter, and the next day you're okay. He actually worked and tried hard, and you can't really fix your shot.
Yeah.
He's somehow done it. And if he can make Anthony Davis a power forward again, because I think that's his better role, I think I'd rather see him at power forward than center. Anthony Davis can make players better. He made that whole Pelicans team better. He is the second best or third best player in the league right now. He has Drew Holiday, who's also a very interesting player coming into the team. And they have one of my breakout contenders in Trayvon Bluier, who looked great in preseason, summer league, and got himself a contract on the team from being undrafted. He could get some look-ins, and this could be a really exciting team. And Jahlil could be a star man in this team, become an elite top 10 center top 5 center if he could even live up to his potential. He was drafted at the 3 spot, we have to remember. He was supposed to be the next big thing, and he hasn't lived up to that. But if the Pelicans can use him 30 minutes a game this season, he will be their second best player on the team.
Like you said, Moutier and Okafor, both players who were selected in the 2015 draft. And for Moutier, I have some very important, or not important, but interesting information. Moutier is listed as the 46th guy coming off the board in ESPN's fantasy mock draft. That is just behind Donovan Mitchell, who's ranked 44th, and Steven Adams, who was tremendous in fantasy basketball last year, who was 45th. And that's ahead of guys like D'Angelo Russell, who was also in the 2015 NBA draft, who was ranked 67th. DeMarcus Cousins is ranked 98th. Obviously, he's ranked so low because of the move to Golden State. Kristaps Porzingis is also ranked 97th. So I think more and more people are beginning to see that Moutier is going to improve this season. I think Moutier will keep that starting job at point guard in New York after this season is all said and done.
And I'm going to move on to NFL. And I have another person in the 2015 draft making it third this year. It's Kevin White. He has had to do it in the last season at every single opportunity he's given. In high school, he had 1 year to get himself a college scholarship. And you know what he did? He did that. He had 700 yards, 10 touchdowns, averaging 16 yards a catch. That got Lackawanna College looking at him. So he took the JUCO route. He didn't get any actual Division I scholarship, so he takes the JUCO route, goes to Lackawanna College. He has his final year left at Lackawanna. He has a stellar year. He gets a scholarship from the West Virginia Mountaineers. You know what he does? He plays 10 games in his junior season. Nothing. He wasn't even going to be drafted in the first 7 rounds. He's going undrafted. He has 1 year to prove himself to the NFL scouts, and he has 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Insane.
He was the best receiver in the draft class. He was fast. He was tall. He was agile. He was everything a team wanted, except he was injury prone. The Bears took a risk, took him at 7, and you know what happened? Injuries. He has 1 year left on his contract. So if the trend continues, he will, in fact, break out this season because he has his entire career on the line. Because if he doesn't have a good season now, he's going to be stuck in that free agent, going from practice squad to practice squad, trying to get a look in. He's the second most talented receiver on. And if he can finally get rid of this injury burden and have a season to remember, a full healthy season, he will be the Bears' number 2 receiver and help a young quarterback like Trubisky.
All right, I like that. I like that pick. Mine is obviously another NFL player, but he is a defensive player for the Seattle Seahawks, Shaquille Griffin. Shaquille with an L. Not Shaquem Griffin, who was drafted to Seattle, but Shaquille Griffin. And obviously, like I said, his brother is with Seattle, and that just is such a morale booster for the Griffin brothers, because now not only are they going to be working hard for their jobs, they're going to have fun while doing that, and that's going to relax a player, and all players want to have fun when playing in the NFL. Shaquille Griffin, the stats don't tell his story. Obviously, 1 interception and 50 tackles last season, which is not the best for a defensive player. The Seattle Seahawks lost guys like Cam Chancellor, who retired, Richard Sherman, who is now with the 49ers. Earl Thomas doesn't even want to be a Seahawk anymore. He went into the Cowboys locker room last season telling Jason Garrett that he wants to go to the Cowboys. So Earl Thomas probably won't be with Seattle in the next coming seasons. And Shaquille Griffin now becomes the number 1 cornerback for Seattle. So I think it's a great time to be Shaquille Griffin, and he will break out this season.
Make sure to watch the whole episode 4 of the Triple Threat podcast on your screen right now. Make sure to subscribe and let me know your questions in the comments below. Signing off from Atlanta, Georgia, William Ezell.